What's this? 34 minutes of awful credit card debt?
This whole time I've been saying we have $100,000 in debt. I was a little bit off on that number.
Propaganda I will not be falling for is the sudden hate of ChatGPT, because the way it's about to change my life for the better, we're like this.
Like, I literally was sitting there racking my brain, like, what did I actually spend $4,000, over $4,000?
We are currently at $32,853 in debt.
These credit card companies are predatory on people who do not have financial literacy.
I transferred over $8,800 worth of debt onto a 0% balance transfer card.
But I have been financially not doing great.
You know what's funny? This was the very first video that I ever reacted to. And basically, she was like a nurse who says she makes pretty good money and is struggling with $20,000 of credit card debt. And I'm not laughing at her. I'm just saying, you know what's funny is that, like, I was just thinking, I remember when I was like a young kid, I was kind of like lectured by pretty much every single adult out there, like, oh, I gotta you study, go hard, or go to college, study hard. And then I realized as now that I'm an adult, like nobody really knows what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. And you know what's also funny is that you look at these TikTok compilations. I don't know if it's just a coincidence, but why is it all women? You know what I mean? I'm not saying like women are worse than men with debt. I'm just saying, like, why is it all women? You know what I mean? Just pointing out, like, women, 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 you know? Anyways, all right. So, before we talk about whatever it is we're talking about today, man, I've been playing around with Google Gemini Nano Banana or whatever it's called. And this is so cool. I asked it to create an anime version of Die Hard and tie it to velocity banking. And this is like the coolest thing ever. John McClane, anime John McClane, the velocity banking Nakatomi Plaza, and then anime Alan Rickman, and he's gonna explode the velocity banking tower, which absolutely makes no sense, but I love it. I wish this were a real movie. I'd watch this anime, wouldn't you? Anyways, all right. So let's go ahead and get started with paying off credit card debt. And as you can see, that a lot of people are struggling with that credit card debt. Not a coincidence that the picture is a little child being shocked. And that's because, it's just kind of re-emphasizing about how when I was a kid, I thought most adults were competent. And it turns out that it's shockingly not true. And I feel like a lot of society is just the blind leading the blind. You know what I mean? Like the blind saying it has to be done this way, and then like they don't know what they're doing. And by the way, if you don't know who I am, I'm just kind of like a semi-rich person, kind of pretending to be rich. Actually, I'm kind of poor because I can't afford a smoke alarm battery replacement. You might hear a little chirp, or maybe I'm just too lazy. I don't know. I probably need to buy a ladder and replace the smoke alarm. I actually have a problem where if I do something new for the first time, I get so scared, even at this stage of my life. And so maybe I'm just scared of just replacing the smoke alarm battery because I've never done it. But also, let me say this. Um, well, I lost my train of thought. I paid off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. Oopsie. Sound effect went wrong. Let me say this one more time. I paid off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. There we go. There we go. Timing's kind of off, but you get the point. Anyways, as you can see right here, this is my paid off mortgage in 2 years and 9 months, and something happened to me where I was able to do that, and my credentials got paid a lot, right? Got paid a lot. And yeah, and also if you don't know who I am, and kind of been saying this for the past 100 videos or so, I have over $739,000 in credit cards and lines of credit. 739,000. According to ChatGPT, makes me the top 0.01%. Okay, top 0.01%. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Velocity banking. What is it? It's a debt payoff strategy where you throw all of your money into debt using something called a line of credit. And we're just going to do the same example over and over and over again because that's how we get good at paying off debt or in anything, right? You know where I got this from? Well, basically, it's from that Bruce Lee quote, you know, you do one kick 10,000 times and you're a master. Do 10,000 kicks once, then you're going to suck. Right. And I think we live in a society where everybody wants to be good at everything rather than just a few things. And I say just be good at a few things and then, outsource the rest. Right. Outsource the rest. Man, I really wish I could watch this movie. This would be the coolest thing ever. Velocity banking, yippee-ki-yay, mortgage debt. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So, velocity banking, what is the first step to velocity banking? It's creating a budget, income, expenses, and then your expense breakdown. You list every single debt that you have, right? And then it's last line item, you just put kind of lump up all your non-debt items, food, gas, insurance, all that other stuff, blah, 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 right? And so what we do with velocity banking is we assume we have the same income, even though more income is great. Okay. And then what we're do is what we're not going to do compared to the average American is we're not going to save money. That's like the first big psychological hurdle of velocity banking. Like we're not going to save any money at all. And we're going to rely on something called our cash flow, which kind of looks like our checking and savings in the beginning, but really not. Because when we're doing velocity banking, we just assume that pretty much at the end of the month, the balance of our checking and savings should essentially go to zero, right? Kind of like this, right? Money comes in, money comes out. So the difference between here and here is where is your checking account in terms of your banking workflow? Is the money supposed to stay in your checking account at the end of the month after you pay your bills, or is it just kind of like a middleman? And velocity banking, we treat our money as the middleman. Okay. And we're also going to assume we have something called a line of credit. So if we don't know what a line of credit is, it's basically a financial tool where it could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again. So this is my $373,500 home equity line of credit. So what does that mean? It means I click a button on the bank's website. I could dump up to whatever amount using a click of the button. And we're going to use this to kind of cycle debt and keep paying it off and throw all of our money into it. Right. So that's what a line of credit is. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to move some debt. And by the way, okay, as a person who has over $739,000 in credit lines, I know the secret that who the banks want to lend to, right? Very easy is that they don't lend money to people who need it. So I understand here that we have, okay, we're in a situation where we need money. Negative $71. That's really painful, right? Like, you might have to go to one of your friends and family, like, dude, yeah, I make good income, but I have all this debt and I'm negative $71. Can you lend me like 100 or something to kind of cover my month, right? And a lot of people will feel ashamed of that because they're asking other people for money because they need it. But if you go to a bank and you try to get a line of credit at this stage in life, you know what they're going to do? They're kind of going to laugh at you. And there's a reason why they do that because they have all the historical data. I mean, think of how many transactions, even in a single day a bank does. They have all the data points to figure out who they should or should not lend to. And they do not lend money to people who need it because people who need money don't pay you back. I mean, think about this in your personal life, right? I mean, a bank is a institution with normal human beings and they deal with normal human beings just at a much larger scale. And every time one of your friends or family members needed to ask you for money, what was the likelihood that they paid you back? Almost none, right? And the bank knows this. So what they're looking for is someone who's a safe bet, who has the ability to repay, right? That's why they always check for income. And if it's a W-2, even better than a 1099, right? Because they see W-2 as more safe. So if you make $100,000 in a W-2 income, then you probably work for a corporation that makes millions of dollars. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, we're assuming we have a free and clear $250,000 line of credit. But the reason why we do that is because A, I'm lazy and I don't want to have to go through really realistic scenarios because it's going to take way too much of my time. B, I put a realistic scenario under a 99-cent paywall. So if you want to join, click the join the channel. It's only 99 cents per month. And if you can't pay the 99 cents, then I don't think you'll be able to really apply whatever I teach here, right? I'm not charging you 10,000 a month. It's 99 cents, right? It's kind of and then I will what am I going to do? I'm gonna hook you in with upsells and $10,000 charge. No, I'm just kidding. I really don't care. All right, so but let's go ahead and do this. And I don't know if you ever heard of the cash flow index, which is basically a formula of the debt amount, $5,000 divided by the payment. So you see this amount divided by the payment. And what you do is get the cash flow index, you get arbitrary numbers. Think of this as a ranking system, and the lower the number, that's the one you want to pay off, right? So why do you want to pay off the low numbers? Well, the low numbers, okay, I'm going to tell you this, means you get more bang for your buck when you pay off the debt. So why is the mortgage, and this is a 50-year mortgage, believe it or not. I don't know if this is going to be a standard normal in like the next 10 years, because once upon a time, we didn't even have 30-year mortgages. We had like, I think it was 10-year mortgages, and they had a different, very different structure. But this is a 50-year mortgage. Okay, this is a 50-year mortgage. And so basically what this is saying is that for this number, to get $1,100 of cash flow back in my life, I got to give someone I have to literally pay someone 350,000. Right? So that's what this says. Whereas here, one of these lower numbers, I could get the same $1,100 for only 35 grand. So that's kind of like a 10x multiplier, 35 versus 350 for the same cash flow, which you're going to pay off first. Oh, I'm going to pay off the credit card first, right? And a lot of people sometimes want to pay off the mortgage because, being a homeowner is very emotional. It's tied to the American dream. But if we're just thinking pure math, right, you want to pay off the credit cards first, not the mortgage. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is move these low cash flow index numbers into the line of credit. Okay. And usually when I do the most realistic scenarios, what happens is that someone already got a line of credit, but they treated it like another maxed out credit card. In fact, I actually watched a video where someone said that they had a HELOC for $80,000 and then they made a dent of $300 on the principal. In fact, I actually think it is this video, right? Why are there so many people bad with money and then just record themselves? It is the most bizarre thing. I'm telling you. Look at this lady. She looks like she's dancing because I have $30,000 in Victoria's Secret credit card debt. What's really funny is that a car is really an excuse to sell a car loan, right? Nobody at the car dealership cares about selling cars. It is the most weirdest thing. And I feel like now that they're doing buy now, pay laters in like fast food restaurants, it really just kind of has shown that the landscape has shifted. Anyways, all right, $164,000 of credit card debt. So this is probably going to be the most mind-blowing thing that you'll see because, same income, right? But think of this as a balance transfer. Okay, we didn't make more money. And guess what happens to this credit card debt? Oh my goodness, right? So these 10 credit cards go to zero because all we did was shift the debt, right? We didn't pay it off. We still have to deal with this. And then what we do is we put the entire 9,000, your entire paycheck into the credit line, right? Essentially as an overpayment. So if the credit line minimum payment is like, let's say $1,000, you put the entire 9,000, and then you take the 4,000 out and you rinse and repeat over and over again. So really easy. So, all right, minus 5088.79, right? So after every single month, the balance is going to go down by the cash flow. But wait. There's no free lunch. So what we got to do is also calculate the interest of the credit line based on the average daily balance, right? And you can see it kind of affects things. And then I'm going to just do this and see that in month 37, this all gets paid off, right? Month 37 months, 164K of debt gets paid off. Okay. And then we have auto loan, student loan, and the mortgage. And then luckily we have this loan calculator right here to kind of show us what's up. These are the current balances. Again, use the cash flow index again. You do from smallest to largest, right? So let's take the auto loan. So I'm going to just do this right here. And then values, what the heck? So plus 8824.98. And then once we've done that, then our cash flow increases by $395. This becomes a zero. And then our new cash flow is 5,000 whatever. Okay. All right, so now this is our new cash flow. So this is going to be minus 5484.1. Whoopsie, not 50. 54484.1. Okay. And then, okay, so this is this is now 0. So now we're at month 38, and I'll move the student loan into the line of credit, although I wouldn't really actually do this in real life, but making the demonstration kind of easy. Plus 63352.8, no, 90, got to round up. And then, so now we did that here, okay? And now it's our cash flow. Well, we got to update the student loan. So this is now 0, $943 extra cash flow. And then this is going to be minus 6427.78. All right, so now it's 49 months. So this one is 38 months. This one is 49 months. And then how much is it? It's 164. Let's see. 164 plus 22. This is going to be 186K. And then this one is, what is it? 186K plus 85. So 271K. And then now we do the 30-year mortgage. So just kind of a quick rule of thumb. With the 30-year mortgage, and what month are we at? We're at month 49. So this is 0, month 49. You don't want to move the entire loan into a line of credit, especially if a huge interest rate difference. I would say it's going to be, if you ever do the math, the calculation, I'll just kind of show you right here. So again, you could actually do it 2 ways. Number one is just send all of your extra cash directly into the loan as an overpayment. Now, here's why I personally don't like doing that. I don't want to, quote, segregate my income, right? So if you want to know how you got into the situation in the first place, is because your income was segregated, meaning that what happens is when your paycheck comes in, it gets split all over the place, and then you put the leftover in the checking and savings. In this case, it'll be negative $71, which is how do you put the negative $71 in your checking and savings? I don't know, but that's essentially what happens, right? And so what I want to do is I want to keep putting my money into one place. That's kind of like one of the goals. And I kind of think of it as like a safety belt. So what happens is if you directly overpay, again, it's not a big deal if you're disciplined, is that you might end up segregating your income, put all of your cash flow into a loan, start using a credit card, and then start segregating your income again. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I'm just saying that a lot of people have this fear of, using a 3% loan paid off with 8%, and then you can see this pays off in 4 years. Now, if we move this whole loan into a line of credit, I'm going to show you what happens. The amount of interest that you pay kind of like triples, right? So just be aware of that. This gets paid off in 4 years, and in 4 years, so I kind of did the math last time, it's 8.08 years. 8.08. We're debt free. It's all good. So now it's 0, and then you see that we have all this free cash flow that we don't know what to do with, and then yeah, so we don't have to struggle anymore, right? No making TikTok videos in 2024 or 2023, right? Or appearing on the Caleb Hammer show. Yeah. Anyways, all right. So if you made it till the end of this video and you want to let me know, type it in the comment box below. Yippee-ki-yay, mortgage debt, right? Yippee-ki-yay, mortgage debt. Type that in the comment box below. And also donate to the channel so I can finally get some batteries for my smoke alarm detector. Please donate $1, $5, because I need the money. So I'm not really as rich as I pretend to be. All right. Well, that's it for today, folks. Yippee-ki-yay, mortgage debt. This is Karina Atlanta Mentorship. See you all in the next video.